Hi there, I'm your host Filiz Göcer and welcome to Filiz on Fashion. Joining me today is Shaldon Kopman, fashion icon, designer and stylist and the founder of the South African brand Naked Ape. Sheldon, thank you for taking the time to be with me today.
Thanks Filiz for the opportunity.
Let me kick off the show by asking you to tell us a little about your humble beginnings.
Oh gosh, yeah, well, as it says, humble beginnings. I think we're still at a stage of humble beginnings. As much noise as the industry might make about our successes over the years as a brand, and that's humbling in its own. So I do not see us ever losing that humility in how we do things and what we do, because it's actually part of the brand ethos. So we like to remain humble as long as we can.
How do you think, if anything, your modeling and stylist careers influence your designer career?
Well, modeling basically exposed me to an industry. It allowed me the opportunity to travel the world at a very young age. It allowed me to meet so many different cultures, understand fashion from a totally different perspective. South Africa is a very new fashion market, so for me being able to get out into the rest of the world and see what was going on was an absolute bonus. And you have an opportunity to learn as you go. So a lot of us feel that we need to go to various different institutions to learn something, whereas we have this opportunity on a daily basis. We should be able to learn all the time. So I absorbed quite a lot of knowledge in my travels as a model, and then as a stylist later on. Gave me an understanding of, how clothing for various different body shapes, clothing, not just for photo shoots, clothing, textures, fabrics, learning about various different weaves, functionalities to different types of fabrics, why you use certain things over others, and so forth and so on and so forth. And then that led me into a space whereby I started actually working with a lot of designers, producing fashion shows for them, curating their collections, and spending time with these designers, exposed me to the pros and cons of what they do, which led me into a space of design, and that was also a necessity. I got into menswear and I got into design because there were certain things that I could not find for myself. I had to start making them, not realizing that the processing thereof is a hell of a lot more intricate, and it takes a hell of a lot more time of what you initially and maybe set out to do. So your 1 year goal becomes a 5 year goal, so it's that kind of thing. And here we are, and we're grateful to be here.
Why did you predominantly focus your label on menswear as opposed to the more popular women's wear?
Yeah, it's you always have to. Clothing is trial and error, especially when you're working in the space of design. It's all well and good to drape something on a mannequin and a bust and see how it functions, but that is a non-moving object. Whereas you, as a living entity, you can trial and error on yourself. So if it works for me and I can wear it and it functions well and it's not busting at the seams and it's durable and I can put it through all kinds of tests, it's a lot easier to do it on yourself. So as a man doing menswear and being a fairly decent fit model, it actually works.
What do you do different to other designers?
Well, I wouldn't be able to answer that. Every designer has their own processing of how they do things. You all have your own substance. You all have your own contribution to an industry. It's not what I do different. It's just how I manage to achieve what I do. I think we do a lot of things the same. There might be 1% or 5% out of the entire equation that you can say this is what I do different to everybody else. So it's a far cry. So it's not something that you can just dump something and say I do this because generalizing is not going to help you either. It's quite a detailed industry. It's quite intricate what we do, and because we work with such intricacies, that has to transcend into the way we adopt life and adapt to our current standards.
What type of fabric do you like to use for your next collection?
Wow, you know what? We like to keep it natural. We like to keep it real. So, as much as we can find fabric that is locally woven, locally produced, we try and use it where we can. So this, what you're feeling here, is 100% bamboo, hand woven in the highlands of Swaziland. It takes about maybe, just this one panel, this black panel, will take about maybe 2.5 days for one woman to weave up. This particular garment is called a Swazi wrapper, named after where the fabric originates from. Africans as we are, we love blankets. So this is basically quite a fashion blanket. So I'm going to demonstrate it on you so that you can actually understand what makes it so fashionable, right? So what we've done here is that we've created a multifunctional shawl. And in this multifunctional shawl, you can wear it about 12 different ways, and people are still learning and coming up with all kinds of different ways. So you can put it there, and then what you do is you just tie around it. There. Bring it around there. Just bring this over there. So.
That is so amazing.
So that's what you've
It's
got.
so beautiful.
Right. And that's one item. That's one way of draping it. There's plenty others. I'll show you another way. So you can go on all the way around. This is just simple. It's like a
So creative.
functionality, yeah. So
So beautiful.
garments have to be multifunctional, you know. So you can maximize it in the wardrobe. So when we speak about quality over quantity, this is what we mean.
That's definitely quality.
You know,
That's
so that's what
amazing.
you have there. And this you could wear traveling, you could wear to, you could dress it up, you could dress it down, you could do so much with it.
Definitely.
There you go.
It's beautiful. I love it.
Please meet the Swazi wrapper.
Okay. What inspires you, or what is a personal signature that runs through the Sheldon collection?
Inspiration is definitely home. Home is our inspiration. Africa as a continent, Johannesburg specifically as a city, South Africa as a country. This is the inspiration. We draw inspiration of things around us. Which is something that needs to be, it needs to transcend into more areas of fashion industry and not just, you know, we like to believe that we really by example. So everything that we do and how we do it is locally inspired. We're home. We love where we are. We've got so much history. We've got so much beauty around us. You know, people inspired. Walking down the street of Johannesburg City, standing at a taxi rank. You know, it's inspiring to see how innovative people are when they actually put ensembles together. To see how people, out of necessity, would recycle their wardrobe, upcycle it, and continuously be able to create change within their space and their wardrobe of very, very few items. That is inspiring.
Magazine crowned you as the best dressed man in South Africa in 2006 and 2007. How did that make you feel?
Well, it was certainly a turning point when it came to understanding of myself within fashion. You know, I've never really stepped out there saying, oh yeah, I want to be crowned or to wear a sash or to have these kind of trophies or medals. No, it's not that. It's I thank them for acknowledging it, you know, for considering me to be one of their best dressed men, and it actually created an awareness within myself that now I've got to be more conscious of how I do things. And that's really when I started making clothes. Because I was like, I am a brand of my own, and I don't appreciate wearing a whole bunch of labels all over myself. And at that particular time, if you can recall, there was a lot of massive branding, Prada, Gucci, Hugo Boss, this. Everybody was wearing brands across their chest all along. And that's when I said, no, this doesn't appeal to me. Let me see what I can do in my own. And I started working on my own silhouettes. And that's really where the design process started. 2005 upwards, I started dabbling around. And 2010 is when we actually launched Naked Ape.
Tell us a little about Naked Ape. Where did you derive the name from?
Well, Naked Ape was one of those, the first time I heard Naked Ape, I chuckled, I laughed, I thought about it, and I was like, wow, this is, this is actually, it's nice because it's memorable.
Totally different.
It's memorable. It was not based on any philosophies or anything like that. It's a book that Desmond Morris had written in the 60s called The Naked Ape. And I just loved the title, and I read the book and I thought it was absolutely fascinating at the time, and I really liked his angle. And his execution was great. And it was quite controversial in the 60s when I wasn't around in the 60s, but when this book was written, people were actually, quite a lot of people were offended. And now when I read the book in the late 90s, I was like, what are people offended by? It doesn't make any sense. So it's probably he takes an evolutionary approach to man, we take an evolutionary approach to clothing. We believe and we practice the fact that a wardrobe is not something that has to be wall to wall. It's something that has to be minimalistic but of uber quality and sensational fit. So you should be able to wear it a lot more than what you currently do, and that's what we like to do, how we how we construct it.
Where do you see Naked Ape in, say, 5 years from now? And do you have intentions to take Naked Ape abroad to, say, Paris, London, and Milan?
Well, foreseeing the brand 5 years into the future is, it's a process, as we discussed earlier. It's there's certain kind of investments, there's certain kind of funding that needs to come into your brand in order for you to swim with the bigger fish. We're a very, very small fish in a very massive pond at the moment. And as much as we look the part as what those big fish do, and we do stand out, it takes a lot to build a brand. It takes a huge marketing spend, and it takes a lot of organization. As we earn is as we grow. Sometimes we think we're going into a direction, but it actually might completely destroy a cash flow, and then you've got to reset yourself and try another direction. You've got to constantly keep up with what's going on in the rest of the world and see if you still stand out in that space, but always know what's going on. Sometimes when you keep on looking at what everybody else is doing, you yourself forget about what you should be doing or what you initially set out to do. So 5 years from now, I'd like to see us as a global brand. I believe we have everything that it takes to be a global brand, bar the financial backing of what we need to take us into those spaces. But we continuously strive and continuously do what we do, and keep on believing.
And what would you say, if anything, are obstacles currently facing men's fashion designers like yourself in South Africa today?
Yeah, I think it's very much an awareness thing. Like I said, we're still very much a new fashion economy in the world space. And we are overly consumed by, because everything you see in the stores that you go to, there's very little that is being produced in South Africa. There's very little that our retailers are actually taking from us as local designers. So the education process starts with us, and of course the more people and everybody who we can, as far as we can stretch our wings in order for us to make people aware of where we are to the fashion economy in South Africa and what changes need to be made. Men are a lot more complicated than women when it comes to shopping for clothing. We know that women are very complex creatures, right? But men, when it comes to shopping, are very, very difficult. So they'll always be comparing you to something else, or they might they have already made up their minds of what they think they need to be looking like, or what they think is good on them, because somebody said, oh, that's a nice color, and you completely the opposite. You know, understanding of fabrication is like, you could take a fabric in black, for example. The way that color behaves in different textures, the way it behaves in different weaves, the way it behaves in different yarn is totally different. So it all depends. So it's the education. You know, so our men need just to appreciate us more, and then, you know, more than what they currently are. And don't get me wrong, the guys that do come through our doors, who do appreciate what we're doing, really love it to the max, and we give them everything that we possibly can. You know, from the essence of us and the goodness of what we're trying.
Hi guys, I'm currently at Shaldon Kopman's shop at the First, and I have with me Patrick Caseda. He's a sales representative who's going to take us on a tour. Patrick, tell us about the shop of Shaldon Kopman.
All right. So the store has been existing for the past 1.5 years now, and our customer, should I say, our focus is men's clothing. So yeah, we sell a lot of suits, jackets, as well as accessories such as bags and hats, as well as belts, and we also do shoes as well.
It's an absolutely beautiful jacket. Tell us about it.
Oh yeah, so the jacket is made of a print called it's called Hollandis. This is actually printed in Holland, which is Europe, and yeah, in Africa, mostly in Central and West Africa, this fabric is known to be a top notch. It's the best quality of African print you can ever get. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Patrick. You design luxury bespoke garments for discerning individuals, the likes of Samuel L. Jackson and even Michelle and Barack Obama. Tell us how this came about.
Well, luck of the draw, I suppose. You know, with Samuel L. Jackson, he was coming to South Africa to do a film, and the wardrobe director in South Africa, who was doing costume for the entire film, stumbled across us and asked if we could make a couple of suits. And we tried to expose them to more than just a couple of suits, and he was like, no, this should be fine, this is okay. And he set up his wardrobe fitting for Samuel L. Jackson at our premises, at which time Sam was pleased with what was made, but he wanted more. And we had just done a collection that was the Alpha Suit of Power collection, which was very, very exciting, and also the turning point of our design ethos. And yeah, the guy just loved everything that he was picking up on. We ended up doing 2 more looks for the wardrobe, and then we ended up doing the entire film for him. And in that space, he was like wanting to encourage the growth of a local designer. So GQ Style magazine wanted to shoot him the cover, and he says, I'll work the cover, provided we use Shaldon Kopman and Naked Ape for the cover, and we created something very special for that, and it worked. Michelle and Barack, we were just asked, us along with a few other designers were asked to create certain garments for them, and we did, and they liked it, and they just wrote a letter to say thank you very much. So like I said, it's luck of the draw sometimes. You just got to keep on believing that you're doing the right thing. Yeah.
What advice can you give young upcoming fashion designers who want to follow in your footsteps?
Create your own footsteps. Create your own footsteps. Like, you can learn from others. Absolutely, I'm learning from people all the time, whether they're in or out of the fashion industry. I'm always learning from them, and that applies to any student that is out there, or anybody who's interested in an industry of wanting to get into design and into fashion, garment making. Design is probably 10% of the process of garment making. There's so many other areas that you need special attention that completes that process of making a very sensational garment. Like I said, design is 10%. Everything else, that 90%, we need that. So it's not just about design, as a lot of people think it is. So when it comes to following footsteps, you might like that designer or that design house might inspire you. You might love what they do. Great, thank you very much. We appreciate that support. But create your own identity within the space, because you have an identity. Everybody does. You know, sometimes it just takes a little bit more searching.
And you apparently love traveling, and your favorite destination is Thailand. Why?
One of my favorites. There's a few destinations. One of them is Thailand. I think it's, you know, you gotta applaud the Thai people for their very hospitable approach when it comes to foreigners. They've got very warm nature. They are loving people. They are kind people. They are honest people. And it's only South African land. It's a very affordable destination to go out and actually get a massage every day. completely
like the hot massage.
Yeah. So that's probably why it's one of my favorites from an affordability perspective, but also from the very kind-hearted people that are out there. Of course, there's plenty local destinations in South Africa that I absolutely love. Just finding the time to actually get out there. Yeah. But for an international destination, we'd like to check out Thailand.
Shaldon Kopman, thank you so much for being on my show.
Thank you for the opportunity.
I wish both you and Naked Ape all the very best for the future.
I wish you all the luck.
Thank you.
It's a blend. It's a mix of wool and leather, as you can see, and also.
Tell me about this beautiful jacket. Tell us.